In a brief history of dance, there are four categories. The first is the origin in antiquity. Second is the India in China. The third one is the European social dances. The fourth one is the influence of ballet. So let's start with the origin in antiquity. So origin in antiquity is the earliest historical records showing the origin of dances and cave painting in India, dating to about 1800 BCE. And Egyptian tomb painting in about 3300 BCE depicts dances as religious in nature. And by the era of ancient Greece, people danced into celebration of the wine god Dionysus and later the Roman god Bacchus, and also into ritual dances at the ancient Greek Olympic Games. So during this time, early people danced for enjoyment, seductions, and entertainment. So that's the origin in antiquity. So dance throughout Asia has a rich history, especially in India and China. So Hindu dancing in India has a rich performance history going back millennia. And the dance was restricted by British colonists who considered the dances as immoral. But once they gained its freedom from Great Britain, they revived the classical dance traditions. And then Chinese dance, it dates back at least 3,000 years with ceremonial dances and folk dances adapted for a performance at court. But up to this day, celebrations still include traditional dances such as the dragon dance and the lion dance. So next is the European social dances. It is a social dance in most parts of the world. Many of it were simple and repetitive. So in Europe, the folk dances of the Middle Ages turned into a formal ballroom dancing. And these dances moved into royal courts in the beginning of Renaissance, becoming popular as dancing masters teach upper classes the proper steps for court dances. In the 19th century, women's clothing allowed more freedom of movement, which the social dancing became livelier. And the waltz swept around the world as a major dance craze, and social dances become to focus on two-person dancing. So that's the European social dances. Next is the influence of ballet. Today, ballet dance is performed as professional entertainment, but dates back to the Renaissance. In the 18th century, ballet dance was an art. Then, when ballet companies sprung up around the world, ballet became a dance which contains telling entire stories through the emotional movements of the ballet dancers. Then, as shoes and costumes changed, dancers gained greater expressive freedom. But some ballet dancers found the rules of the classical ballet restrictive, like the pointy shoes. Then, in the 20th century, George Balanchine and Martha Graham, the modern dancers and choreographers, began to deconstruct ballet to create new forms of performance dance.